A warm welcome to Madam Rupa Naik ji. A warm welcome to you. Nice to have you now, the Senior Director of WTC. She's amongst us. We thank her for all the assistance what she has given us always. Rupa ji, you are great. Thank you. Moving on. Yash ji, next session. The session is going to be, it's market, linkages and logistics, national and international. Our session's moderator is Dr. Ajit Kumar Nigam, CEO, NIFT Foundation and Design and Innovation. May I welcome you on stage, sir. Thank you. Chairperson, are you or she is the chairperson?
She is the chairperson.
And our sessions, please sit down, sir. Chairperson is none other than Ms. Rupa Naik, Executive Director, World Trade Center. Please welcome Rupa ji with a big round of applause. Thank you. Please welcome Rupa ji. Rupa ji, you're the sessions chairperson. Sessions chairperson. Thank you. Rupa ji, if you don't mind, I'll make a personal comment. As usual, your dress sense is impeccable.
Because where is Suhani lost?
Suhani just left.
She invited me to her event today morning, so I was
Okay.
there the whole morning.
Thank you. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. I would also like to welcome Mr. Tarun Thadani, founder, CEO, Fashionablyin, United Kingdom. Tarun ji, are you here? We'll wait for him. And Mr. Ramez Basmaji, founder, Fabusse, Kuwait. Sir, big round of applause for Mr. Ramez Basmaji. Yes, ji, anybody else on this panel? Okay. Okay, so we'll start. Okay, so moderator Dr. Ajit Kumar Nigam, please take over.
Guys, good afternoon. And lovely lunch, lovely place, and lovely lady on the stage. And here we are going to talk about market linkages as we move forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to request you to talk about, based upon your experience, what way the World Trade Center does, how does it create those kind of linkages across the globe, and how products would move from the production stage to the final customer, and also what should these young designers do instead of just creating a product of their own, or they should look at market. How do they look at the market? These are some of the broader areas I would like you to address. Over to you.
I think the 2:30 session is one of the worst sessions one could get, because everybody has had a meal and they want to rest and relax and chat with all the friends.
A good meal, actually. Very good meal. So.
But I would like to say that I'm very happy to see that there are so many young budding fashion designers who are amidst us today. Normally we are used to seeing a lot of entrepreneurs. Normally we are used to seeing people from academia, but it's a wonderful mix of entrepreneurs, all you young designers who are probably going to become very famous, celebrity designers in times to come. But yes, market linkages is a very, very important component. It actually connects the producer to the seller. How do you take them? So there's always a middleman. It could be a World Trade Center, it could be a trade organization, it could be a dealer, it could be a distributor. It all depends on who you reach out to. But in short, let me tell you about what World Trade Center does. As a World Trade Center is supposed to be more of a real estate across the world. Wherever you go, there are 330 World Trade Centers in over 90 countries. All of us try to collaborate and cooperate with each other to help market linkages. All of us put together, we represent about over 1 million business houses. In the recent past, we've seen that textiles, fashions, upcycling, recycling, all these new words, part of SDG, have taken over. And we have realized that importance of ensuring that, like the farmer, he brings the food to our table. We don't see the person who has provided the food to you. I know it came to us from Flamboyante. Probably I know the chef, but I don't know from where it has come. The market linkage is like that. We really do not know from where our clothes come. I know I bought it at one of World Trade Center's weavers exhibition, but I really don't know who the weaver is. We never get to see the origin of any product. So recently, of course, Government of India started something like, most of them started putting the name of the weaver, or from where the mango comes, from the farm from where mango comes. In fact, even the face of the person was being put, particularly at Nature's Basket. So this particular box of mangoes comes to you from so-and-so farm at Ratnagiri. Well, so this is a way to get to know the origin. So I think as a World Trade Center, we can play a very important role in ensuring we take anybody who is aspiring to become an international player, who wants to reach out to markets besides within India, overseas. We can help you to reach out to them through our reciprocity desk, which is a part of the World Trade Center Association's initiative to connect all the businessmen from various countries through a desk. So we put up we put up a trade inquiry which comes to us, or a request, and then we write, okay, we want so-and-so country to respond to us. And if the country responds, then that country gets marks. So World Trade Center receives a lot of trade-related inquiries from different countries, and we keep finding partners, or we try to find the actual source through which we can reach out to either the seller or a buyer. So yes.
So I have a question for you, which is this: that World Trade Center is a established old organization, and they've been doing great service. The world is changing, and there's a lot of technology which comes in. With technology coming in, how are you looking at World Trade Center of, say, 2035, 2040? How would it look? So how would these linkages which you're trying to establish will change with the maybe Web3 coming in, with triangulation of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and we were having this conversation over lunch.
If you look back at the origin of World Trade Center, I think it started in 1940s in the US. In India, it took over, World Trade Center Mumbai is the first World Trade Center of India, which came up in 1970. In fact, in 2020, we were to celebrate the golden jubilee of World Trade Center Mumbai. But due to the pandemic, we were not able to do it. But yes, you just see one pandemic. Why are we looking at 2035? Look at the pandemic, just 2 years. Within 2 years, the way business is conducted has changed. We have all become digital. We want to work from home. How many of us were ready to come back to offices? I had difficulty in getting most people back to office. They would say, do you really want us to come back to office? I would say, yes, we need your presence here. Of course, the engineering, housekeeping, and the fire departments, electrical departments did not, they worked throughout even the lockdown periods. But other departments were not very keen to come back. They were so comfortable at home that now getting back to normal was not looking normal.
A psychological change.
A psychological change. 2020, 35, I have no idea what is going to happen. Did any one of us even predict that 2020 would be this kind of a situation in our life? I mean, in 2010, I was preparing Vision 2020. Every organization from FICCI to Ernst & Young to CII to World Trade Center was presenting to the government a memorandum on 2020, Vision 2020.
And that's changed. Nothing
and
of
see what happened in Vision 2020. Vision 2020 turned out to be a nightmare, a blessing in disguise, because we discovered new opportunities. Of course, a lot of people lost their lives, a lot of families got, have lost their members from the family. But the disruption caused woke us up, shook up the world, and made us realize that you have to reach down to the grassroots, reach down right up to the places where I don't know who was sent. I managed to get food through during the lockdown. I wasn't able to get most of the supplies, and I had somebody who would come and drop it at my house. I didn't even know who the person was. I was just calling a number and saying, okay, I need vegetables. Then there was a tempo which would come with vegetables, and it reminded me of some movies that I had seen, where in Russia, in Poland, they used to go for bread.
Oh.
Whenever I used to visit Poland, they used to tell me these stories. And I saw exactly something like that happening. I would tell my maid, run down quickly because you will not...
You have to join the bread line.
Yes. And we were buying vegetables at a very, very high rate. That time, it was the seller's market. Even today, it is the seller's market. The buyer is ready to buy. Reach out to the world. Don't just sit in your own comfort zone, because you never know who will come from which region and take away your market.
I really like what you said, seller's market. And so my question to you is, you are an international fashion consultant. How would this happen? This movement, which is now a seller's market, so we should get extraordinarily premium to the price of the product? Basic economics tells us that. What's your reaction to this?
Yes. As she said, madam.
It's working.
Okay, so the business after this corona changed a lot. And problem here that we finish corona and there is a war coming now between Ukraine and Russia, and there was big country. And these things also make business down again in some country, in some area. So we have to go more remotely. The people in different country, before they have people who work in their office, so now they are ready to work abroad because the life changed. So we cannot accept what will be happen after 5 years, 6 years. We don't know what happened. It's kind of politic system happening in the world. Maybe coming another corona, we don't know anything. So I suggest to every designer, work step by step. We have to follow the rules of the world, and we can, as I said, more on the online. I always say online because this is a life now. You cannot live without your mobile. You cannot take a shop and pay for rent and then wait the client to come to you. So it's better to continue on this life and plan every year by year. You cannot put plan for 5 years. So every year can change this life.
So decisions in boardrooms are changing, and you cannot have a strategic plan going forward. With that as the base, the chief executives of various organizations have to plan for a different perspective. And keeping that in mind, how would a country like Kuwait look at going to all the GCC countries, and where physical meetings may not be possible, how much of these video meetings will help actually close business? Not generally a marketing effort, but actually close business.
As I told you, after Corona, people begin to understand remotely meeting through Zoom or through Microsoft. So people begin to understand this kind of things and begin do this business. But if we're talking about the fashion industry, sometimes little difficult because they cannot guarantee the quality or the design. They can understand the price, they can see the photo, but if some new designer or brand not knows, some purchasing coming online and after they face a lot of problem. So here to continue in this business for the fashion, I think they can do it online, but to send sample for the buyer to check the quality, to check the price, it can be easy for them, yes.
Ma'am, so the touch and feel in the fashion and textile. Okay.
We interrupt this program to welcome Mr. Tarun Thadani. Big round of applause. Thank you. Carry on. Dr. Nigam, carry on.
All right, Tarun, welcome. And we were having an interesting conversation. And so I'll just bring you on and I'll start asking questions before you even relax. Okay. Which is, market linkages is something which we are talking about. And India has to go to the world. And our people need to get premium on the prices. So ma'am has been talking about this being a seller's market, so time to take advantage of that. And with that being said, how would you react and what should India as a country do to ensure that people get, one, higher prices, and how do we even reach out and tell the Indian story as we discussed during the yesterday's one of the panels. They talked the time has come for India to tell its story. It's a story which sells. So how do you react to getting those market linkages in place? Yeah. And I think you should have some water.
So I ran, I was running and coming. So basically, yes. See, India has so much of what do you call it? Fabrics, quality. I mean, China, no country in the world has the infrastructure that India has. So we run Fashionablyin, which is a platform. We've been doing this for several years, maybe like 10 years now, where we help companies grow their business. I've actually worked with Ramez multiple times. We met in Paris and in many parts of the world as well. We basically help companies grow their business. So whenever I tell Indian companies, I always say, the main thing is, the only problem that I feel with Indian companies is delivery. I mean, that's the only thing, and that's not a problem, is because nobody wants to say no. That's the thing, everybody wants to say yes. But, in India, we have such good infrastructure, fabrics, raw materials. We have to take advantage of the infrastructure that we have, and moving forward, global trade today is becoming very easy, just because of the pandemic, we've had an increase in the shipping rates, but overall, business is global. Today if you look at an outfit, you look at your shirt, the button will be from Turkey, the thread would be from China, the stitching could have been done in Bangladesh, the design could have been done in Europe. So it is definitely a global market, and being in a country like India where you have this kind of infrastructure, where also you can do small quantities. If you go to China, if someone comes to you in China, they say 2,000 pieces, or we're not interested, So this is where you have that, that advantage where people should, take full, I would say vasool off, right?
Okay. So just picking from what you're saying, you talked about a globalized world. Conflicts are happening across, as Ramez pointed out. And then people are talking about deglobalization, with each country trying to pull back and be a cocoon, if I can use that terminology. Globalization was fantastic, but has the political world started changing? Are we really looking at breakdown of these supply chains, the linkages, and that's why the prices shot up? What will be because political establishments today are becoming much more centralized in nature across the world. So how would you react to that?
See, if I may say one thing, I spoke to a very good friend of mine who's in Russia right now, Akashdeep. He runs a big company there and he's been there for a while. And I just asked him about what is the global, like what we see from the news and what is happening on a ground level are two different things, So the only one thing that he said to me was that India has opportunity in this. I know for us, we should not, we don't have anything to get involved in. The good thing about India, we should be neutral and look for more business opportunities. Whether we sell to X, Y, or Z, that's other people's conflicts, is not our issue, But since India has taken a neutral stand, for example, I'm just saying one side of the economy has closed, so they have to buy from one side, which opens opens options to us, right?
Yeah. And would you agree to what he says? And how would
Yeah.
you take this forward?
There's nothing called deglobalization. It cannot happen. Just as corona will never go, it might become milder, it'll become a kind of flu. Similarly, all this will go back to what we were. We'll have to accept globalization is there forever. What are we going to do are you not going to travel? You need the world to know what you're doing. So many delegations come to India. Even in spite of corona, we had so many people who were visiting us. So this can't close. Markets will always be open because what I just said was, right now, sellers, because the supply chain is disrupted. Right now, India is focused because China, Russia, Ukraine, China, because of corona, most of the countries, in fact, not just most of the countries, it's very difficult to find from where to outsource. Today, I have a huge order which has come to me asking me if I can help them get a supplier for wheat. Because Ukraine was a supplier of wheat.
That's right.
To across Asian countries. Vietnam, Korea, all of them, they depend only on noodles. To them, wheat is very important. From where are they going to outsource it if Ukraine can't send it to them? So you have to look at all these opportunities which will come out of disruptions.
So a counter to what you're saying, the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the need to be a self-sustained economy, how would you view that in this context?
What is self-sustained? Self-sustained doesn't mean, if I am not self-sufficient, doesn't mean that I have to only sell within my market. I have to grow rich. I have to make sure that the last end, the supply chain ka beginning, the backward and the forward, get equal amount of, are equal partners in getting the fruit of that contribution that they have done towards either exports or towards the domestic market. Here what happens is it's only the maximum. For example, if you look at most of the weavers, as Savita said yesterday, that if there is a 50% sale happening at West Side, it doesn't go from West Side's pocket, it goes from the weaver's pocket. So that shouldn't happen. There should be equal distribution to every participant who is part and parcel of a product. That's what I mean. So whether the product goes overseas or the product is sold here, self-sufficiency begins when you start recognizing the value of each and every participant who has contributed in production or the supply.
Okay, so from your perspective, the self-sufficiency and Atmanirbhar Bharat is to ensure that we take care of the supply side?
We take care of both. You need to know who is your market.
Right.
Where do you need to market your products? Identifying your market is also a very, very difficult task.
Correct. Correct.
But there are different ways. World Trade Center has its own export development programs where we teach you how to find out your markets, how to identify buyers. You can't just think, अच्छा ये internet पे बहुत सारे buyers मिलेंगे आपको.
The element of trust is in.
How many of them are really existing? How many of them are trustworthy? You really don't know. Sometimes I've had people coming and complaining to me about after they have supplied. So then we can't do anything about it. But yes, what I mean to say is you have to make sure that today what you do is make a foundation. Today you start looking for markets. You may probably end up in the next few months finding the right buyer. Once you found one good buyer, you are done. Can I explain to you the ODOP project of Thailand? So India has introduced ODOP, which is one district, one product. Excellent, but it doesn't work that way. What Thailand did was they did something called OTOP, which was highly successful. So every district was asked to identify a product, and that product had a product manager, a product designer who designed the product for the international market.
For a specific market?
For a specific international market. It could be European, it could be American, it could be Asian, depending on that district and that product. So I still recall that there were hundreds of buyers from across the world that were invited by Thailand. The entire cost of stay, travel was borne by Thailand. I went as a part of one of these delegations from India where I was also invited. To me, it was an experience because there were thousands and thousands of products, but there were only buyers, and not buyers who would buy only for, for their own purpose, but buy for an entire year. An annual order was given to every product that was displayed there. And then they would take us to the village, that district, to show us how the product was made. The product was made for international markets. So I remember a bathroom slipper being sold for $1,000. The slipper was made out of silk. It was a Japanese product. And this person who had come from US, he said, I am picking up for the entire year for all the hotels which were under him. So he gave a huge order. So that depends on how you identify your buyers. This is what you need to do. Find all the big malls of the world. Get their marketing and purchase officers here. Let them see the products made. But our product should be export worthy.
All right. Has a similar experience been there in the Middle East?
Yes. To tell you about my experience, India is a big country for the garment, for the fashion. But we face many problems when we bring some buyer here. I bring myself a lot of buyers here. But there is a problem when the client sees a sample, okay? And when they do the production, there is 20% mistakes. This number one. And number two, on the delivery. Also, there is some late. So, a lot of buyer and a lot of country now, we can say, come competitor to India, like Vietnam, Bangladesh, Morocco now. And some buyer from Europe who before come to India, they begin go to Moldova, cheaper country in Europe, and they do their production there. But India, it's better in some item, like embroidery, such kind of things. But they must work more on the quality and on the presence in the market, because trust with the people is very important. But this does not mean only in India there is problem, also in China, in Turkey. So I think to bring buyer is not difficult to bring. But to continue with him and to give him the right product, this is a difficult point. We have to work on it.
Tarun, any of you, so he talked about certain problems. How can business innovation in these lines or technology solve these issues? Because these are very pertinent to us. And if you're not able to solve them, then the problem continues. What are your views on that?
So, I think the most important thing is the relationship that you have with the buyer, And so like our company has been working with getting buyers for our clients for the last 10 years, helping them. And it's the relationship that you make with the buyer. Like, if you're late, it's fine. There's no problem. Say you're late. If this colorway is not available, you have to use another colorway. Mention it in advance. So the correspondence and that relationship is the key, and that's what it keeps. Because with production, there are going to be issues. It's not like there are not going to be issues. There are going to be issues. There are going to be delays. There are going to be challenges, you know, but every challenge can be overcome and every issue can be solved, you know. But so yes, obviously there are technology that can be used, but at the end of the day, at least what I have seen in my, I mean, I'm still a little younger than you know, all of you, but what I've basically seen is the relationship is the thing that goes the most important when it comes to the buyer, you know, and that's key, you know. If you have, like, you know, a lot of people, when they go approach buyers, they keep saying, oh, I'm the best leading supplier from India, I'm the most leading supplier from, everyone says the same thing, you know. So you have to change that approach when you get to the buyer and try and break the ice a bit, you know, to make to you know, show like, okay, and start some kind of like story, you know, instead of just saying the same thing that everyone else says. But overall is correspondence is key, being prompt, you know, and these things will get you very far ahead in your business relationships.
All right. So business relationship is primarily built on trust. So how do we ensure truth and veracity in all our transactions? Because once you establish that, then this person becomes a repeated buyer for you time and again. How do you react to it?
Like ma'am said, that you just need one buyer, and I totally agree with her, you know. And so it's correspondence, you know. So the more you say, you know, the more you reply, the more prompt you are, that's what builds the trust. So it's the constant you know, correspondence, replying to emails, following up with phone calls. That's what keeps that relationship stronger and stronger and stronger. Then when you go to the specific country, you meet them. When they come, you invite them for dinner, you take them out, and that's what builds the relationships even more. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
So when we talk about building this relationship, there are obviously two standard ways of doing things. One is a verbal communication, second is a written communication. In today's world, with COVID and a lot of other things which are problematic from one perspective, how important is the written communication as against a verbal communication while you're building the trust with the buyer?
See, video today, you know, like, you know, I mean, Zoom and video is great. You know, today I haven't met a lot of people that I work with face to face. I haven't met them, but we do a lot of work together. We do events together, you know, but we've had a lot of correspondence on Zoom, on video. So video is great, you know, and one thing which is better now since the pandemic, a lot of the buyers and a lot of people that you were dealing with that weren't familiar with having Zoom meetings or doing everything virtually, they are very, very familiar with the virtual business now. So this is a time that you can take advantage of this situation, you know, and next time ask your buyer or ask someone for a Zoom appointment, you know, try and schedule an appointment, and remember, once you're speaking face to face, it's going to make things happen. Then obviously they'll say, I want a sample, they'll say, I require this, or whatever, and then your relationship automatically builds.
Yeah.
Right? And how would you react to this? How does it happen in GCC, especially verbal versus written communication in building relationships?
As I mentioned, you also through communication, if it is difficult sometime, the people go to Zoom or Microsoft, sometimes WhatsApp, it can be a solution. But to continue after WhatsApp or after Zoom, sample, it's very important to send it. When you talk with the buyer and show him your product, he cannot see clear the product. So I think to send for him a product, photo of product, high resolution, clear, and you put the description about each product and how much time take and what is the facility and how you ship them for them, it can be helpful for them. But now Corona finished, I think, and the physical fair run again. If we say in Dubai or in Qatar, every month there is fair. Now there is Ramadan, begin. But after Ramadan, there is a bridal fair, there is a trade fair. So it's important the presence of the Indian exporter and designer there for the first time to let people know them and to see the product, because still they are afraid to travel, the people there. Maybe Europe it's easy for them, but to come to India is still difficult. Next week there is IIGF in Noida, so I invited around 100 buyers, but I see only 8 buyers that will come. So maybe need more advertise, more push from the government to do this. So here it's better to take them. It's better because there is no sector for the Indian exporter in Gulf. I see sometime in Paris some sector for them, in Milan, but in all the GCC country I don't see sector for the Indian. They are special mainly in Dubai, but Dubai there is not too much business. They must go now for Saudi Arabia. It's a big country and now everything changed with Saudi Arabia. They can go to Qatar, now the FIFA happening in Qatar and Kuwait. So this can be helpful for them to grow.
So a question that I keep getting asked a lot is, when it comes to sampling, who's going to pay the courier, the sampling courier, or who's going to pay for the samples, So this is something that I mean, it's a you have to weigh the situation, Sometimes I always ask the suppliers that if you have to go travel to London or travel to New York and meet them and come back, calculate the cost of that and calculate the cost of sending the sample, But some people believe that the supplier should pay for should fund the cost of the samples, but the buyer should pay the courier costs, So everyone has a different take on this, But I have some suppliers who I know very well, who even pay the full, pay everything, So this is something that you really need to look at, because and understand what's the output that you're going to get, Any thoughts on that, ma'am?
Yeah, I have something to say on this. So if the buyer approves your product and he places an order with you, you don't charge him for the sample. But if he doesn't, then you charge him for the sample.
No, I meant also, but before you, that's before they place the order. Well, they're still negotiating.
Then it's your call. That's your way of marketing your product. Why should he pay for it?
Why
should the buyer pay for it? Yeah.
I think you have a trust with the buyer.
Yeah.
You have to see about the buyer.
And I don't know what the cost of the product is, but whatever it may be, you can pay for it until you know whether it's been approved or not. And then the minute he says, okay, I have liked the product, depending on the order, you could decide on whether you should charge him for that, because you're going to build in the cost anyways.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But provided you get that order.
Of course you'll get the order if your sample is good.
Yeah.
The very fact that he's called for a sample, after reading all the specifications and seeing the color codes or whatever.
But sometimes buyers ask 10 companies for samples also.
Yeah. But then maybe even one of them works out, you've made up for the rest of the 10 that you have given the samples to.
That's a portfolio approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You also mentioned that...
Can't you place the sample in the market in the mall and get it sold there?
So Tarun, you talked about how easy it is to do business today.
I mean, it's easier.
Easier, okay.
Competition is more.
Okay. It's easy. So my question to you...
It's easy for those who are on the digital platform right now.
No, I know. I'll tell you what. I'm just saying, if you have a good product, just remember that. You have a good product, then that's key first. If you have a good product, then second, obviously you need to be able to sell, but you can't expect a terrible product.
We did an exhibition during the pandemic. It was an online exhibition. We developed a platform on which we could showcase the weavers. It was a nightmare. Their products, their saris and their fabrics were outstanding, but they were not able to upload it. So you were there, Yash was there, and finally we gave up. We decided we will change the date. We pushed it by 1 month, then we pushed it again by 1 month. At the end of it, I told them, you forget it, tell them to take pictures on their mobile and send it to us. I don't know how they managed it. Very big problem. But even till now, I have never seen such designs before. such beautiful designs.
So my question is that are we taking a product-centric approach or a market-centric approach? That's a thing which is debated at multiple
Consumer-centric.
Consumer-centric approach. You're right, ma'am. So Tarun, interesting. You talked about great products, take samples, but what about a consumer-centric approach?
Listen, you have to see the trends of what's happening today. Like, okay, so what is hot right now? Like, I mean, anyone in the audience?
Yeah, get them.
Anyone in the audience can say like anything that's loungewear. Absolutely. Sleepwear, loungewear. That's really trending right now. So another thing, like another buyer that I was talking to, see, everyone moved to skinny jeans before, but now apparently skinny jeans is completely out of the market. So everyone is moving back to a little more of the flowy jeans, not what I'm wearing, but more of the flare jeans. So obviously you have to be with the trends in the market, and sometimes the first movers are the people that spotted and benefit from the whole from spotting it, getting the whole products in and distributing it to the right audience, and also at the right price points, which is key, like certain things will only move at certain price points.
So Ramez, how are the trends spotted in the GCC market?
Trend?
Yes. How do you do that?
Bling.
Repeat. I don't how.
Trends. What's going to happen in future? What kind of products will be liked by the customer? So how do you come to a judgment on that in your market?
See, the fashion, as I told you, change. The mentality of the people change in the GCC, especially after this crisis. Let's say for the Indian market, there is a huge of designer who sell there in the GCC. But I see now a lot of shop who take from Indian begin change their mind. Because, as I mentioned you first, the price. The price is very important. Always I say the price. They like special kaftan style. Kaftan style is very famous. If you go to the market in every country in GCC, you can see a lot of kaftan and all are made in India. I faced sometime one buyer, he said to me, I bring kaftan from Morocco. When we see the Moroccan guy's company, we find that he do the embroidery in India. And I know a lot of embroidery people who sell their embroidery to Moroccan, and Moroccan they sell again to the GCC country. So a trend now, we cannot say it's like before. People go more for the simplicity. They don't like a lot of color in the dresses. They don't like a lot of embroidery. They go for the manipulation. They like to combine some accessories with dresses. So the mentality in this way, I think, must be changed with the designer also to know what they can produce now. And the designer in India must travel also, or must say online what happened all over the world. They must see from the online what the competitor do. They cannot say I can do what I like, because the market is different here. And the buyer, it's easy for them to accept every day 100 email from a lot of company. So they accept from India, from here. So in the final, they will buy what they like and what price they can get it, they can do it. And a lot of buyer, you have to take care about a lot of buyers that can copy sometime. They take the dresses from India, hand embroidery, and they do it in Turkey, different kind of things. So this also can make value down for the Indian, because they sell it, example, 100 USD, they can find in Turkey 50 USD, but the client, the final customer, he don't know. He sees the dresses and he buy it. So this is make more pressure for the manufacturer. So here, always, if we go before 10 years, we can say a bridal gowns lady can buy in 20,000 euro. But now we cannot accept this. Maximum 5,000 euro. So this is the mentality of the market now.
You did mention that, people pick up the design, copy, and then sell it under the name. So intellectual property is an important element for this business. And ma'am, before I come to Tarun, it's to you. That what is the WTC thing? How we could ensure that the intellectual property of our designers are protected, and we command a price based upon the knowledge which has gone inside this.
From WTC, I can't say how you can protect the intellectual property of a designer.
Okay.
It's up to the designer, but I don't think the designers are that bothered, because whoever is going to copy cannot make exactly what the designer has made, because he has put in a lot of effort. I've seen quite a few of such...
You're not really audible. Closer to your mouth, please.
So I've seen quite a few copies of maybe Sabyasachi or Ritu Kumar, and you know the minute you see it, even though it's a copy from what the original is, it's not the original. And I don't think they're really bothered. Are you a designer?
No, I mean, I'm a marketing person, but I was a designer.
Okay, you look like a designer. So I don't think he'll bother tomorrow if I go and copy, if he's made some sari which is... Is
that true?
He won't bother. He won't bother. He'll be very proud. He'll say, oh, she copied my design.
But copying is a problem. But I'll tell you
problem,
something.
yes.
If I don't know if all of y'all have heard of what NFTs are. You know, I mean, if you're seeing this is the way that you can actually protect. I mean, like an NFT is the only way that I was actually talking to a few designers a while ago, and this is something that you can look in, because see what today if somebody copies something, I mean, how can you? Clothing today, it's but I'm saying when it comes to an NFT, it's also that it's yes, you can know that you are the rightful owner of that design, but still, if somebody copies it, if someone copies it, they copy it, you know.
Can't do much about it.
You just don't want them to copy it in a commercial way. If someone copies it in a what do you call it, individual, non-commercial way, that's absolutely fine. But if there's a commercial way, you obviously want to look of how you can get compensated. Yes, they are in Europe, in France, copyright is very stringent.
Yes.
It's very stringent. And I know suppliers, okay, that have given designs to big companies, and then they've got it done with another supplier, and they have got compensated. But that's only in Europe and France, where they have these laws which are stringent, and you know, where the government also plays an important role in enforcing this. So people have that fear, overall fear. But a country like India, like no one's really going to, you know.
Yeah, the cost of it is also very high to fight for.
Correct. Litigation.
Litigations are very expensive.
So, Ramez, how does this work in the Middle East? People copying, or buyers looking at copies to purchase as against somebody's original work?
Copy is international. Everybody copy, especially in the Middle East. There is a lot of copy. But to copy the Indian product same in other countries is difficult. To give the same quality and same structure is very difficult. But the problem is the end user, he check on the price and they will buy what is cheap for them. This is a market now. As you see, a lot of company bigger, like they grow their business through the pandemic, like H&M, they grow because they have good price for the product, and they take from all over the world, from India, from Bangladesh. So the copy, yes, it is a lot of company who do copy. And also in India, sometime when exporter send the product to the client, let's say from Mumbai, maybe he find in Calcutta another exporter, or go here and here. So in the final, he want to save in the money. But in the final, also he faced some problem when he paid less amount. When he received the product, there is a lot of problem in their product. So maybe this can be after problem for them. All
right. So copying is a well accepted system in the industry. And that being so, then he would join us?
Yes, from Zimbabwe.
This discussion now?
Yeah, this session only is quite delayed.
Okay.
I thought we were coming too close.
Okay. So in the interest of time, not on the negative side, but in order to generate more. So I would like to open the floor to questions, especially To these three people here, if you have questions, ma'am, can somebody give her a mic, please?
Which every designer faces is plagiarization. And when Mr. Ramez will say copying is okay, I think I talk on behalf of all the designers that once you put in so much effort on the sample, which is the most important, then production is not a big deal as much as the sampling. Because you need to develop the design right from the conceptualized stage to the execution. When you do a new design. So it's terrible for a designer when the designs are being plagiarized and, to see them all over the market. Even before you can commercialize them. For instance, when a designer has a fashion show, the pictures are all over. And tomorrow you see them in exhibitions everywhere, literally. So I would say that, of course, there should be some kind of a law and, of course, there is IP and all, but it only works 20%. When you change a design to even a textile print to 20-25%, it doesn't work. So I think as the European countries do, even the Indian government has to have some kind of a law regarding that. Or even the person who is in charge of exporting the product out of India, some kind of, leverage on that.
Very interesting, but before the panel, I would like to hear observations on this from a lawyer who is with us. Yes.
Yeah,
So why don't you?
Sure.
John, can you put a chair for them, please?
Come here, come here.
So we need to innovate.
Yes.
yeah, so good evening, everybody. My name is Jamshed Mistry. Yes, I am a lawyer, and we've done a lot of work, in fact, on fashion law, on copyright, etc. I found some of the observations very interesting indeed. If the industry itself says that copying is fine, then I think we should all go home.
We did not say copying is fine. We said it is not possible to control it.
No, it is. It certainly is. There's a lot of work, I must tell you, that has happened. In fact, very, very serious. The British government, for example, is pumping in a lot of money on this. If you all know that most of the copyright conventions that are there, and India is also signatory to it, like the Berne Convention, etc. So if you register a copyright in India, for example, automatically it gets copyright protection in other countries as well. So I think this is important. Trademark is, of course, based on individual countries, so that's an issue. But I think people are getting very, very serious. I think police, agencies across the world are actually coming together. There are sort of seminars and other things that they are doing in working this out. And I think the most important thing is awareness within the fashion community itself. I think if you plagiarism and other things, as somebody rightly said, what they typically do is to avoid plagiarism. What they'll do is they'll take, say, the fabric of a button from somewhere else, and then they put it all together and say, hey, look here, we are not copying. So that's how they've tried.
So the same product process patent, to which
Yes.
was a big debate in the pharmaceutical industry some time back.
Absolutely. But the other answer, to it is, which I think a lot of people have completely forgotten, is something called insurance. You can get insurance for exactly what you're doing for your product, worldwide.
So I just want to ask you, like a lot of people won't understand also is, I say I'm a designer, I make this outfit. How do I copyright this outfit? What is the process?
Oh, absolutely. You can put it down from your design to see what is copyright. Copyright is actually a bundle of rights. It's not just one right. Okay, so you put it all together. It can come in a form of a concept note. That concept note can also be copyrighted, and you get your diary number. At least in India now, everything is online immediately. India, by the way, sir, is a great place to register your copyright. It's much cheaper. So that's again something that you can do. So these
So
are...
they'd have to do this for each of their designs.
Yes.
Each
yes.
of the individuals.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, see, whatever is important to you. See, today, intellectual property is, for an artistic person, is the only thing that he or she has. So it's become very important.
So can I ask you a question? What would be a designer's copyright if it had to be an intellectual property right that you think you have added to that particular design? Because fabric pe ho nahi sakta hai, design can't be anything like, just tell me, something inspires you to do that.
Yeah, so I will tell you what I had a conversation with Mr. Jamshed Mistry only, who's sitting here. So he said that
Come
you
up
can...
here.
Sorry?
Come up here.
No, it's fine. So...
I'll get up.
No. Ma'am, so just wanted to say that regarding the copyright, that, we were discussing that in terms of the print. Even if he would have done a copyright of the print and the garment had multiple prints, then it would have not worked. It doesn't work. Then you are able to plagiarize it. So if this print, this motif on your sari, which you are wearing, this particular motif, am I right, Mr. Jamshed? If she would have taken this picture and this is patented or copyrighted, then if a person puts 4 flowers or leaves on that, it doesn't work.
So
No.
there's a product process patent similar to that.
No,
Am I right?
No, correct.
It's a small minor change, but it doesn't work. And the same in terms of fibers, because I remember he mentioned to me that why don't you patent this banana pseudo stem under your brand and to do it for future. But then there was lot. In what? In what category am I using? Different. You understand? So I have to do multiple patents.
No.
Patents, copyright.
Copyrights and patents also.
So-
We spoke about this also, I think, a couple of times on this.
Yeah, so no, I think let's get it very clear. So a copyright is basically where you the entire design can be protected. A trademark is very different. Is your label, okay? In that also you can have a design or a logo that can be protected. But the only difficulty is trademark is country specific. So you'll have to, and UAE, etc. is the most expensive for a trademark registration, for example. You mentioned about NFTs. I think that's a very important aspect. You can. And also the other problem about NFTs is today, the original owner of the NFT, okay. What is great about NFT and blockchain is you can actually see where who's buying it, etc.
Traceability.
That's right. But again, the mathematical algorithm only allows you one way. It's not. I mean, if it's sold and then you want it back, and you have a grievance. Today, there is no international grievance redressal forum. But these things will evolve. I think India is now getting ready. It is, the government has sort of accepted it in the initial stage. It will happen. There are petitions filed in the High Court, etc., asking for things to be recognized. So I think you're going to see that. But an NFT is a great way, again, to ensure that variations can be also...
So you're the rightful owner and the first person.
That's right.
That's the...
So you then become an assignee.
Yeah,
but at
assignee.
least you ensure that variations of that product also has value.
So NFT is something which is going to be critical to ensure that the product actually belongs to you. And we are talking about market linkages. My question to all the panel members, and I'm going to start with you, is traditionally the government used to play a major role in this with organizing so many events and things like that sort. And over a period of time, this has got reduced, especially with technology coming in. So from your perspective, what should be done using technology and governmental linkages and the role which a trade councillor could play in taking this forward?
Sir, I would like to add Miss Rupa and Naik only. That handloom thing we had organized, the online exhibition. So there were some challenges, but over a period of time, I realized the WhatsApp works beautifully with the artisans. So if the government can form a smaller cluster, and if we do it in a smaller group, say take 20 artisans and one person who's handling them in technical support, then, they perform very well. Because I think we sold best in Rajasthan, the Gota work and the, so it was done very nice. The embroideries were very price competitive, and those tunics were sold across many markets. So personal touch with the artisans, whichever area you're taking, you take 10 or you take 20, and then, probably do something like WhatsApp, because they handle that very well, rather than doing it over a period of time with, on the online, on Google or anything else. Like even a website you're creating for them does not work as much as WhatsApp work. So you have to find some easy solutions, which is there on their phone, because they're very well connected on phone, and they were not from the major towns or cities. They were from very tiny villages, very small villages. So trust me, I would just quote that take that as an example.
So which means these are the companies where all the information would be stored. Would that not become a privacy issue? Would that not become over a period of time, to use your terminology, dominance and abuse of power of companies like Facebook is something which we are talking about. WhatsApp belongs to Facebook, to Meta. Would that not become a challenge, and should that be the route we should take? Okay,
So, no, I'm just saying, when you say privacy, as a company, you're not supposed to share your data. That's pretty much, as long as, see, the problem with India is privacy laws haven't been enforced yet. I mean, I know I've been reading a lot that in the pipeline, you've been knowing more, but in the future, they are going to be doing like GDPR and other kind of laws. So, for example, our company, Fashionablyin, we're actually registered in the UK. So we have to follow GDPR. And actually, we also got into trouble some time ago because someone made a complaint. So we had to prove that, we were keeping all the, not sharing all the data. So yes, WhatsApp may be convenient, but in a long-term conducive environment for doing your things, it's not the right thing to do. But as you mentioned earlier, when it comes to public-private, when it comes to like government, like those government private partnerships, those PPPs, where the private companies partner with the government to form exhibitions, shows. This is where a lot of things can move forward, where you have private institutions who also have some kind of, lucrative thing for them to be a part of it. The government also gains, and the people who attend also gain. So these kind of things moving forward, we should encourage more of these things where there's partnerships with private companies, the government, and to do either exhibitions, shows, events, virtual events, conferences, all kinds of things that promote the overall trade, like exactly what Yash is doing and other people, over here as well, like us as well are doing, yes.
Right. So when we're talking about the PPP mode, and we are also talking of technology, and all of us have been through the experience of Aadhaar, especially on the Indian side of things. Can we visualize a system for times to come where the product attributes and data which goes into ensuring that the design element belongs to a particular person can be done through identified clusters on a blockchain?
See, no, you're absolutely right. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Web 3.0, what everyone is saying, and that's what it's gonna. That's exactly what you're saying is what's gonna happen. Everyone is gonna have their own wallet. I'm sure everyone already, most of you all have your own wallet, and that's what's gonna be your login to many things, and that's what the world is moving towards, A lot of people are saying that Web 3.0 is really, and I'm actually seeing it, I don't know who of you all over here have an OpenSea account? Anyone wants to raise their hands?
Tarunji, 1 second. Sorry. I would like to warmly welcome Mr. Tsakatsa, Ishmael, Humphrey, founder and creative director, Zargue'sia. Please give him a big round of applause. Thank you. Sir.
Hi, welcome. And you could come this side.
Sorry, Tarunji.
Why don't you make him sit here now? I have to go.
While we would have liked you to be here, just
2 more minutes. Tarunji, please carry on. Dr. Zah, please sit down.
No, I was just talking about Web 3.0 and how I feel that it's the way moving forward. And does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
On the law? Yeah. So I think you mentioned GDPR. I think that's very important. And quite often, even the recipient of information has to, comply. And that's... But the other important thing is, we've always been faced with this question in court quite often, saying that, do you have is it so, is it like the formula for Coke or something that, you just can't disclose? So, I think it's evolving. But I agree. I think our privacy laws need to be tightened up far more than what they are currently.
yes, especially from the perspective of moving from Internet 2 to Internet 3, Web 2 to Web 3, Internet of information to Internet of value, where you can actually do transactions and ensure credibility, ensure trust, and that is what builds a good marketplace and
Just to correct you, I don't know what credibility and trust, because everyone was talking about money laundering happening through crypto. But it is moving in the right direction. Obviously things are going to happen.
See, crypto is an example, is a use case. There are other ways of doing it. And so, we would like to welcome you. And I really would like you to tell us about you as a person and the organization you represent.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ishmael Tsakatsa. I'm the CEO of Zargue'sia, which is a high fashion brand. I'm a fashion designer and I'm also a physiotherapist, so I'm representing Zimbabwe. I'm one of the delegates from Zimbabwe.
In this panel, we are discussing about the concept of market linkages and how companies can take their products from one stage to another. And if you could talk about it in a short span of time, because the chairperson of this panel also has to leave. So let's hear from you how market linkage is established in Zimbabwe.
Okay, in Zimbabwe, when it comes to marketing, you need to first identify your niche market, what sort of product you are giving to the people, and you actually find places where that particular product is in demand. So a lot of research has to be done first before you actually get out there, get your product out to either different places or other countries abroad. And also other factors that come into consideration are like government legislations, things like eco-textiles, eco-friendly products. So those things help you determine the kind of market where you send your products to. The other factors that also come into consideration are the demand for that particular product as well.
What I'm going to do is probably one last comment from each one of you, beginning with the lady there.
Thank you, Dr. Nigam. I would like to say, to Sir, I would like to say firstly, this panel discussion was very enlightening, but number one, is your end supplier from the organized sector or is your end supplier from the unorganized sector? So that is the most important thing. That is why I said these smaller groups. Because if he has a regular business and if he's organized, it's very, very easy for the buyer and, to communicate. But we were talking about promoting the end suppliers from the unorganized sector.
Right, so that makes a change.
A change, yes.
Sir.
So I think my two words of wisdom are basically, I think if you're in this business, in the fashion industry, I think you should definitely try and make yourself slightly legally literate. I think that's very important. For example, before I joined the legal profession, I did backstage for designers like Hemant Trivedi, etc. And I met him just a while ago, and I said, hey, tell me, which other lawyer has actually done full and complete backstage? So, things like that. So I think it's reciprocal. I think we must know, the law will always come in handy for you. Thank you.
So my talking on the last that you have to take care about all the rules happening in the world, because every year there is some rules happen between the designer and the exporter and the manufacturer. So I suggest for you to always follow the rules and keep update about what's happening in each country, because each country have different rules, and try to communicate more and more through the digital way. Thank you.
There's something that I would like to say is about the Indian weaves. We have so many weaves that we will never go out of fashion. India has weaves which you can probably make a directory out of them.
And all would have an international market.
And all would find a market everywhere in the world. There is no place in the world which is going to say, I didn't like this weave. It's made in India. The minute you see the weave, you know this is from India.
That's history. That's the story of the country.
Even embroidery.
Embroidery, I'm talking about the arts, craft, fashion. I think the fashion industry grew from here. If you look at, I've been watching some of the serials like Mahabharata and all, the clothes that they made them wear have definitely come from the book when they read the Mahabharata.
True.
I think yesterday the governor told a story about a fabric which lasted 14 years, which Ram, Sita and Lakshman wore.
Yes.
So,
washing required.
yeah, they did not require any, it was a divine fabric. We probably we can't lay our hands on it because we are not divine. But still, I'm talking about the weaves that have been given to us by our ancestors. It's a heritage. It's something that all of you who are sitting here, the youngsters, you need to take stock of it. Look at it, because this is a treasure. This is a treasure which you need to explore and take it to the world. Show the world what India is all about. The weaver, the farmer are the two most important people of this world. The civilization, our Indian civilization, have actually come from the weaver and the farmer. And we still have 90% of India is farmers and 90% of India is again in the weaves. Cotton, if you look at Indian cotton, look at Indian silk, look at Indian linen. It's really very good. Yes, I do love African fashions because they are very colorful and they're very glamorous and they look beautiful. But I still think that there is a lot of scope for India and Africa also to collaborate with each other. I told you the story about getting the northeastern shawl.
That's correct.
Yes, this is something very funny. So we had Mrs. Tembe who had come from International Trade Center, Geneva, and we presented her a beautiful shawl which was made in Northeast India. And she asked me, which African country is this from? And I said, no, it's not from Africa, it's from India. So there is so much common between us also. And we need to explore those possibilities for collaboration with Latin American countries. There's so many Latin American countries which also have beautiful weaves. But what we need to do is to bring all the weavers together, understand what kind of weaves, and most of them are going to die if they don't get a market. So the buck comes and stops it.
At you.
So I would just basically say that don't give up. Keep trying. The more doors the more buyers that you connect with is never enough. It's like if you think, oh, I've just hit 10 buyers today, that's not enough. If you want to grow your business, keep targeting more and more people. The more and more people you target, the more doors you knock on, the more relationships you make, the more chances of you getting more business. So that's all I wanted to say is just keep at it, and today you don't even have to have your own factory. You could be a representative of some, like say today you're good with email, you're charismatic the way you speak, you're good with correspondence. You could work with someone like ma'am said, who is not so familiar with the computer, who's not organized, who does not know how to put things on an email, and represent them and be their voice and do it professionally and make a commission on it, or so I'm just saying there's a lot of opportunity, and it's just the more doors you knock on, the more you're going to get. Thank you.
Ishmael, we'll hear a lot from you probably sooner, but what are your last words on marketing layer linkages which your country could do, and what kind of practice?
Definitely, when it comes to that, you need to be aware of the competition out there. So in whatever you're doing, when it comes to marketing, you just need to distinguish yourself and be also aware of what the client needs. Yes. So I think...
All right, thank you so much, panel members. Excellent talking to you. And will you stand for a photograph, please?
Thank you. Before the photograph, we'd like to give a token of love. Firstly, may I request Yash ji to kindly acknowledge the one and only Rupa ji, please, who has been so kind always to Khadi and to textile. Rupa ji first, please. The boss lady at World Trade Center, Mumbai.
Do it to them, please.
We are giving everybody.
No, honor them first.
Please come along.
Okay.
All of them.
First we'll honor, as Rupa ji suggests.
We honor our guest from Zimbabwe.
From Zimbabwe, Mr. Ishmael Humphrey, founder and creative director, Zargue'sia, SIA.
You've done so much hard work. I want you to be.
Big round of applause to our guest from Zimbabwe, Mr. Tsakatsa Ishmael Humphrey. Whom next? Tarun. Now, Dr. Nigam, I request you to kindly honor Rupa ma'am, please. You can't keep a good lady down for long. Thank you, Rupa ma'am. You have been so good to us. And you've been so involved in the movement. Many, many thank you. Dhanyavad, shukriya. Thank you.
Yes, that's a very nice terminology.
We have Tarunji.
I said something wrong?
What I feel is the next time you should try and make it good. That will be, you will complete the circle of the community.
I'd now like to acknowledge Mr. Tarun Thadani, founder, CEO of Fashionablyin in UK. I can't pronounce it. Please say it for me. Okay. So here is it, the spelling Fashionablyin. Fashionably in. I got it.
We invite Dolly Basin ma'am.
Dolly Basin ma'am, may I invite you to kindly acknowledge Tarunji, please? Thank you. Is it a shocking pink that you are wearing? It's a Rani pink, or what is it? It's a lovely pink. Big round of applause. Thank you.
And then we have Jamshed Mistry.
I'd like to acknowledge and welcome very, very proudly Mr. Jamshed Mistry, a legend in the legal eagle business. Who doesn't know Jamshed ji? Thank you for your presence here, sir. and a group photograph. Thank you. Sonia ji, are you here? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to this esteemed panel, esteemed moderators, great guest. Sonia ji, she's not here. Sonia Lamba, she's not here. Thank you very much. As our esteemed guests leave the dais for one final time, let's give them a big round of applause for their presence here today. Thank you very much. We have Dr. Messina from the University of Zimbabwe, Textile Department, Republic of Zimbabwe. We have Mr. Tsakatsa Ishmael, Humphrey, founder and creative director, Zargue'sia. We have all our international guests, Mr. Ramez, Basmaji, founder of Fabusse, and all our other guests. Thank you very much. Wonderful. What a great picture. What a great picture. It's like the international fashion industry is on the stage. The big guns. Final session? Okay, let's do one exercise before the final session. Check. Everybody get up for a second, for 30 seconds. Everybody just stand up, quickly, stand up. Hello, at the back, students. Don't do gappa goshti. Stand up, look at me. Are you ready? Everybody left hand out. Left hand out, everybody left hand out. Look, they're gossiping ladies, now they'll never change. Okay, everybody left hand out. Take your right finger. Take your right finger. Tarunju, your right finger. Right finger. Take your right finger like how I did it. Clap on your left palm with one finger. 2 fingers. 3 fingers. 4 fingers. A big round of applause for GlobalSpin Trade Conclave. Thank you. Sit down. Okay.